Whoa, 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 it's the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. I'm down here at Zuma Beach on a beautiful foggy August day. We need to talk about the slavery paper. Yes, this stuff that's keeping us down in a state of lack. First things first, the big clue to what's going on with this piece of paper is it says, "In God we trust." It's a false idol. Translation of "In God we trust" is "In the devil we keep." Look, if you think this stuff is real, you're highly mistaken. If you think this stuff provides you happiness, you're highly mistaken. I'll grant it, at this moment in time and space on Spaceship Earth, this is the only way we have to exchange goods and services. I get it. Until we find a better interest-free system to do that, we'll be slaves. We'll be in a constant state of lack. You know, I made that last video about not being in a state of lack and letting it go, and a certain segment of the viewing population thought that I was talking about not paying your bills, which is exactly the opposite of what the whole video was about. It was about paying my bills. But it was the thing about letting go is this. If you're attached to money and you think that money is the answer to all your problems will never get solved. You know, I see a lot of people getting crushed by the "In God we trust" paper. And they wonder why their lives are thumbs down. It's because they think that some sort of paper stacking is gonna provide them a stairway to source energy. It's not. We all need to just let go of this false paradigm of money is the answer. Money buys happiness. Money buys misery. Look, I live in one of the wealthiest communities on Spaceship Earth. And I see probably the biggest percentage of people unhappy here than I see in other places. Look, when I went to Chile, it was a real eye-opener because I saw people with nothing that were happy, making their world happen. They didn't care about what was going on in the US. They didn't even have televisions, most of them. What they cared about was what was going on in their community, what was going on with their neighbor, what was going on with their family, and to make their world the best they possibly could with what they had in their immediate vicinity. And in their lives, the answer to the whole thing. Because I live in Malibu, I get to watch people suffer who have more money than, dude, some of the richest people on the planet live here, and they're miserable. They can't buy enough cars, they can't buy enough women, they can't buy enough houses, they can't take enough drugs because they're attached to this false sense of reality. This thing is the enemy. And I would never advocate anyone throwing their life away to like detach. That's not the point. The point of the whole video I made was about letting go of your judgment of any situation, especially in regards to finances. Most people sit and dwell upon their financial situation and tell themselves, if only I had X number of dollars, all my problems would be solved. They can't be, because the money's not real. People just can't seem to grasp that this is just paper. This means nothing. People send me comments, right? They'll email me or they'll personal message me and they'll say really nice things to me. Those things those people tell me are worth more than every one of these pieces of paper on Spaceship Earth combined. Because there's some things you just can't buy and you will never be able to buy, like kindness from other people, being kind to other people. And that's where I'm trying to get with this whole thing we're doing. I'm running an experiment personally in my life right now. When I came back from Chile, I decided I don't want to swing a hammer anymore. It's not that I don't like carpentry, it's not that I don't want to build things, but I realized it's not how I want to sustain my life. I want to sustain my life free of attachments. And one of my big attachments was fear of not having enough "In God We Trust" paper in my pocket. And I was like, all right, man, I'm going to take the leap. I'm going to go with source energy, and I'm going to pursue my artistic interests. I'm going to sustain myself off of my creative reality, off of this, off of what I do as a human being to try to be of service to other human beings, what I do as a human being to be creative, to add to the whole instead of taking from the whole. And that's what the whole video was about. Is it's taken me about 2 months to adjust to the concept, because to be free enough to pursue my own creative endeavors and sustain myself off of that is a pretty radical concept. It goes against everything that the system's telling us. The system's telling us that we as individuals aren't worthy enough to sustain ourselves with our own mind, heart type of deal. And one of the first things I had to do was get rid of the car, because the car was a giant attachment. The car equaled this giant ball of like money to sustain the car driving up and down the road. And what I've found is that there's plenty of extra cars here in Los Angeles. In fact, people just keep handing me keys to cars because they don't understand not having a car. It puzzles them, so they think that I need a car. And they give me a car, and I just go and park it in my driveway, and I ride my bike around. And my whole life has changed since I started taking the bus and riding my bike around. Because in Los Angeles, people are very attached to their vehicles, and I'm one of those. Like, I can't live without a car. I can't exist without a car. Well, I can, and I exist much better without a car right now. I got a bike. It's got surf racks. I go pedal around. I get to see my community more. I get to interact with my community more. On the ride here, I ran into like 3 people in their cars who stopped to say hi to me that I never would have seen in my car. Suddenly we're talking about cars, but the same thing with this paper that we're all carrying around. As long as we're attached to the paper, our bills will be insurmountable. Our freedom will be less than. Our state of existence will be in a state of lack. The whole point of my last video was showing that letting go to me is not paying you. It's about paying your bills. It's about following through with your commitments. I made a commitment to the phone company to send them $80 or $89 every month to keep this phone going. I signed a contract. So part of my commitment has nothing to do with like money. It has to do with my word, my signature, my commitment. Now, sometimes I'm a little light, but right, the letting it go is not sitting there and dwelling upon it and being in a state of lack. It's about allowing source energy and God to provide me with the avenues to pay said bill. And it might be a random job happening. It might be someone buying a piece of art from me. It might be all sorts of interesting things. It might be someone donating money to the Illusion Fund. I have no idea how the universe works, but the universe has shown me that my life is a different path than being a slave to stacking cash. Look, I'm not taking some sort of vow of poverty. I'm taking a vow of abundance. As long as I believe that dollar bills and money are going to provide abundance, I will always be in a state of lack. This is my planet. This is all mine. There's nothing here that says it's not. And anyone who tells me it's not is living a delusional reality. Now, you can get all about laws and nonsense and the system we live in right now. Well, if you want to continue living in that system where your goods and services are exchanged for a piece of paper that charge interest on your exchange, then you will always be in a state of lack. Look, our financial system is based upon shortage. If you really look into what's going on with the Federal Reserve note, which this is a Federal Reserve note. Where does it say that, dude? Does it say it on the thing? Let's see. Oh yeah, it says it right on the top. This is a Federal Reserve note. This is an interest-bearing piece of paper to keep you a financial slave on the planet you were born on. We all need to, if we're going to override the poverty of this planet, if you really want to talk about the starving babies in Africa, this detaching from this piece of paper is the key to preventing those babies in Africa from starving. Because it says, in God we trust, in the devil we keep. Look, I'm turning my life over to the universe. I'm turning my life over to you, the viewers. I'm turning my life over to my bike. I'm turning my life over to the now. I am letting go of my fear of economic insecurity. I'm letting go of my attachment to green pieces of paper that say, in God we trust. I'm gonna live my life a different way. Now that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna use the in God we trust paper, because that's how we exchange goods and services. I understand that. But what I'm trying to express is, until I let go of my attachment to the whole monetary system, I thought my whole life was to be a slave to a paycheck swinging a hammer. And now that I've let go, I've realized that my life is based upon my own creative spirit, my own entrepreneurial venture. And we're going to get to that, because I'm going to ask you, the viewers, to do something for me in the next week. And it's based upon the In God We Trust paper. It's based upon an exchange of goods and services. But we're going to wait till that thing. But I just want to assure you that if you stop counting the money and start living your life, it'll all work out in the end. It's a giant leap to take. And I am not advocating anyone quit their job, not pay the IRS, not pay their phone bill, not pay their car insurance. I'm saying allow yourself to take a deep breath and realize that God and source energy is not going to let you down, that there is nothing but abundance in your dream. It is only your mind that is telling you you're in a state of lack. And as long as you remain in a mental state of lack, you will always live in lack. But if you allow your heart to be in a state of abundance, you will have the universe given to you endlessly to the ends of time and space. But it's a giant leap. I get it. It hasn't been an easy leap for me either. I'm still attached to the system. I still find myself in moments of scarcity and lack where I go back to fear. But I now have grace and faith and trust and something greater than myself that's showing me how to live my life in a different state of consciousness. And I'm a newbie at all this. I'm a puppy. Just a little puppy. But wow, man, once you start to free yourself of the internal barriers and find that abundance is everywhere and it's only your mind convincing you that you're in a state of lack, like, whoa, trippy stuff. Anyway, man, I think I ran a little long and got a little bit redundant. But I'm going to go ride my bike around and go be nice to people. Peace.